I started chit chatting and I didn't even press record. It was a good flow too. It was a good flow. I was just saying that I'm just so taken back by the extent of just the secret societies and the areas of this nation and the lengths and the funding that goes into targeting individuals to stop them from walking into their purpose, from stopping them to spreading good into this world, from stopping them from their favor or being chosen or anointed, when it really just boils down to stopping them from pouring out love and light into a world that needs it, because it's got nothing but darkness, people feeling alone, people feeling broken, people not understanding a way out, people doubting themselves, people not knowing truly who they are, because that's what we've conditioned. And so when you have people, placed all over this world that speak a particular way and can't be conformed to the regular, boxes that they've so graciously conformed the last 50 years, 60 years, and it goes against the grain, well, you're going to be moved over to this program. You know what I mean? Especially when your capabilities are outside of this world when it comes to tolerance levels in reference to like resilience, perseverance, energy, being able to read a room, being able to read cards, being able to, tap in with a spirit, being able to tap in with the divine and stuff like that. And so it's just, it's one of those things where it's just so much goes against the grains of, what the conditionings of the world are. And it's just like, for me, I just struggle with it. I was just talking to Tay about, like, I just have a really hard time wrapping my head around just the evil and the deceit and the ties and the pulls and the chains. The chains of the world have so many people just like pulled up so tight, the conformity chains, and it brings me to, I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, because my transformation, that's the beauty of it. Even throughout all my TikToks, like from when I started in October to where I'm at today, you can clearly see the transformation in myself, inwardly to outwardly. And I know a lot of people are like, how is she doing it? How is she going through all the adversity and the setbacks and the kickbacks and still standing on 10? And, the thing is when you become one with yourself and recognize there are no limitations within yourself, and you connect with yourself on a deeper level, you no longer need the world to survive. You need your basic needs, like water, a little bit of food here and there, but like you don't need the exterior world to survive. You have everything you need within yourself, within your vessel, right? And that's where I'm at. And because I've become so much one with myself and my spiritual walk and my spiritual journey, like I no longer question different things about myself. I either go inwardly, get to know myself a little bit more, but I don't question like if I'm lovable or if I'm worthy or should I be confident, or like I don't question those things about me. I am who I am. I walk how I walk. I talk how I talk. And if that rubs people the wrong way, I'm sorry for that, but I'm not going to change my ways because of that. And I'm no longer going to allow the world to make me feel bad because I have a past, because everybody has a past. Everybody has a past, right? Every single one of us on this earth has a past, has unfavorable seasons, has unfavorable, addictions or whatever. Like I made multiple videos about this before. There's various different kinds of addictions, although it only gets labeled as drugs and alcohol and substance abuse and whatever. No, there's multiple different addictions, buying things, overindulging, living above your means, not helping, not spreading kindness, not spreading, mercy and grace. Those would be addictions. If you fall on the side of like spreading hate and envy and jealousy, you're addicted to spreading hate, envy, and jealousy instead of spreading unconditional love, forgiveness, and light. You see, like you can label an addiction anyway if you really want to get down to the brass grass. But see, we don't do that. No, we don't. We chastise people for being a certain way when in reality, everything that you is in your past was a part of what made you who you are. And when you become one with recognizing that and you own it and you don't let anybody tear you down from it, you then start walking in your purpose. You start recognizing like who you are. You start, knowing your truths, knowing your value, and knowing your boundaries and your standards and your morals and your integrity. Like, I run so much on my heart, but I've always had a specific heart my entire life. My heart has been very, very specific and very different. And anybody in my past knows that, hands down. However they want to shape it, it makes no difference to me. I know my truths, and I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me. The difference between me then and me now is my heart that I poured out into the world. I pour into myself. I pour into myself. If I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. If I don't feel aligned with something or someone, I'm not going to go. Like, if I can read your energy and you're coming at me like disingenuinely, I'm not going to allow you in it. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you've walked a world where they have just straight broke you down, God finds different ways to elevate you, and when you walk through your spiritual awakening and you walk through your, dark shadows and you walk through all that, unfortunately, God puts people in your life for a particular reason, and then they move out of your life for a particular reason. And it's a hard truth. It sucks, especially when betrayal and all that stuff gets thrown in. It's like the worst thing in the world, man. But you can't allow the betrayal and the deceit and, the odds stacked against you to put you in a negative mentality or a victim mentality, because you're just allowing the betrayal and the lies and the deceit to win at that point, and you're better than that. Everybody goes through betrayals. Everybody goes through hardships in life. Everybody goes through different things in their life. And I don't feel like anything that I've gone through is moreover than what I know of some people going through right now, or even families going through with children that battle different types of diseases and disabilities. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I always try to find a different avenue in the way of my thought process that brings me back to the foundation of always being grateful for what I do have and who I am in me, and just loving myself for who I am. Like, I truly believe in my heart of hearts, when people get to a place of absolutely loving themselves through and through, they're just happier. You're just happier. Whether you walk alone or you walk with a lot of people. Quite frankly, when you walk with a lot of people, that's a lot of pressure. Honestly, I found, I've never been one that has a lot of like big friend groups. I've always had different friend groups and seasons for reasons, for sure. But my circle, I feel like, was always kind of small. You know what I mean? But even in the small circles, I feel like there's always sometimes pressure. You feel pressure to make everybody happy and be there and show up at the right times and stuff like that, and sometimes a lot of that pressure, just living and making it through a day right now and your job and just like marital issues and children issues is hard itself, so when you have the pressures of like trying to make everybody happy, that can just sometimes bring you down to a negative headspace too. When you get to a negative headspace, you just pour out negativity. And it's just like, I feel like when the world moves in a better direction of putting themselves on that platform And then like just owning who you are and what you like and what you want to do and just like moving forward with that. I hope this video resonated. I love you guys. For